If, like Julie, you've been to the dentist and you've been told to eat soft food, but you still want something delicious, then this recipe might be just what you're looking for. Tin of chickpeas, I will be draining it in a bowl, and but I will keep the water just in case I need it later. And I'm adding them to a jug. And 1 tablespoon of olive oil, pinch of salt, some pepper, and a medium-sized clove of garlic. Oh, and here comes trouble. How are you feeling?
Not too bad.
Not too bad.
I live.
You live, okay. You're gardening. I can see you dressed. Good, good. She's feeling better.
Yeah,
in case you're
bit.
worried. Good, good. I'm cooking your dinner.
Lovely.
She's gone. Couple of spoons of water from my chickpeas, and I will be blending everything together with the hand blender. That's it, job done. It's a bit thick, which is what I'm looking for. I did struggle a little bit at the beginning, so if it's too solid, add a little bit more water, but in my case it was okay. It just took a little while to get going, so job done. And I'll transfer my chickpeas now into a larger bowl. I'm making some chickpeas polpette, so I'll also be breaking an egg, and I'll be cooking the polpette with some Orzo pasta because it's very soft and it will be ideal for Julie and Tooth. I've also grated some Parmesan cheese, which I'm adding to my paste. This is a fresh ball of mozzarella, which I'm chopping into tiny little cubes, but you can use any cheese you like, any cheese like cheddar or Edam, entirely up to you, or mozzarella of course. But do ensure that it is in nice little cubes. And I'll be adding it to the rest of the mix. I will be adding some breadcrumbs next, but before I do so I want to see the consistency of the chickpeas so that I can use the breadcrumbs as a way to regulate how thick I want them. And I'll start with a couple of tablespoons to see how it goes. Interestingly, the predominant smell at the moment is the garlic, the little garlic I put in. You can definitely smell it. The paste is still a bit wet, so I will add a further spoon. There it is. And while I'm at it, before I forget, I will also be adding a generous amount of parsley. This will give lots of flavors and a lovely color. Yeah, I think it's good. Look, I can make a little meatball, no, a little chickpeas ball, not a meatball, polpette, quite easily without getting stuck to my hand. So it's done. And I've started making my polpette, and here they are approximately a couple of centimeters in diameter each. There isn't a rule or a science, entirely up to you. I'm making them relatively small because Orzo pasta is not very big, and I think they look better if they're not disproportionately big. But if you want to make them bigger, entirely up to you. There, you just roll them in your hand and off you go. Very, very easy. And here they are, job done. I've made 21, the same as my age. So I'll put this on one side to rest. In the meantime, I'll start my sofritto. Small carrot, small onion. I will be using white onion today because it will balance better the sweetness of the chickpeas, and also some celery. This is just picked from the garden. We've got a massive plant. I will not be using it all though. And I've chopped all of my vegetables very, very fine, mostly to ensure that they're not too intrusive for Julie. Olive oil in a saucepan. And I add my chopped vegetables. And I will leave them to sizzle for a good couple of minutes. I will be using some chicken stock, which I've got left from the other day when I cooked some pasta, and I kept it thinking of doing something different. So there it is. And I've warmed it up in the microwave, and this is the remaining water from my chickpeas, which I also kept. And I will be adding it to the vegetables. If you're vegetarian, by the way, you can use vegetable stock. If I didn't have the chicken stock, most probably I would have made some vegetable stock or straight water. As soon as the stock reaches a boiling point, turn the temperature down to a medium to low, add a bay leaf, and start adding the little polpette. Ensure that if you're making a similar quantity to mine, you have a large enough saucepan so that they are not on top of each other. Also ensure that the level of the stock is above your polpette. Not a problem in my case, I lack more than better judgment, but if you do need more liquid, just add a little bit more hot water until all of the polpette are covered. I'll put a lid on and I'll leave them to simmer for a good 10 minutes. So 10 minutes on, and they are pretty much well on their way, and actually most probably they're good enough to eat as they are. And make sure that you keep the heat as low as possible, because chickpeas polpette are fairly fragile, and if you have them on a very high setting they will lose their shape. And I'm now sprinkling some orzo pasta here. I'll show it to you, you might be familiar with it. This is approximately 120 grams. I'm choosing orzo pasta for two reasons. So number one, because it is a bit creamier than the normal pasta, and also because of Julie. And this is the sort of pasta that you can eat when it's warmer rather than hot. But of course, if you're making this, you can use any pasta you like. Short pasta is advisable. Something like macaroni would be ideal. And without trying to upset everything, I'll give it a good shake. I'll go in with my wooden spoon and try and ensure that the pasta is covered by the stock. And if it isn't all of it, don't worry, because we're going to be putting the lid on, and we'll leave it now to cook for another 10 minutes. 5 minutes in, and I've noticed that it's a little bit thicker than I would like it to be. So I'm going to be adding a little hot water. Useful to show you that rather than trying to be clever at the end. So the pasta is nearly ready. It's been cooking for 10 minutes and it's not quite done yet. But what I'll do, I'll turn it off, and I will leave it to cook in its own heat. So another 5 minutes and it will be ready. And it is ready, and it looks good, and the smell is amazing. And starting with the polpette, I'll put a portion together. I've been very careful because, as I mentioned before, they are quite fragile and I don't really want to break them, but they are maintaining their shape. And I'm now adding a little sprinkle of Parmesan cheese on the top, again optional, you don't have to. And I will garnish it with a little parsley on top as well. And I'll try some, and I'll try and get hold of a piece of chickpeas polpette. That's really nice. Exactly what I was aiming for. Something creamy and not too liquidy, but also something that you can eat warm. In Julie's case, she would be able to keep it on one side of her mouth because it's not liquidy, but also very, very tasty. If you want to make it more liquidy, just add more stock or more water, entirely up to you. And of course, as I said before, you don't have to use orzo pasta, you can use some macaroni or shells, anything you like. So I think it's a success. Thank you, ciao ciao, see you later, bye.